much about that. But I've learned the Marxist book, and unfortunately, it's here. It's the same rhetoric. When you hear fake news, that time is propaganda. When you hear free, this, that, and the other, it's all pipe dreams. It's all lies. Communism has killed millions and millions and millions of all different race, nationalities, countries, you name it. So it's in our shores now. And how is it that it's here now? How is it that that we've come to this? And it's all about the elections. Okay, we don't select. We don't elect, we select. And we have these sociopaths, like Glenn said, in every area of our lives. One of the things that is very difficult to see is that now, like Glenn said, it's no longer hiding. It's actually in your face. They feel that brazen. And I come here as a citizen. I'm not running for anything. I'm not here to get votes or anything. I think Marilyn has been such a support. I'm right behind her. I mean, there are a handful of running politicians, people that are going to run to office, which I admire a lot, that you would take on that. But even in my district, in District 19, I'm not allowed to talk about this. And you got to ask yourself why. Are you afraid of it? Do you know who buried the bodies and you don't want to say anything? Are you part of it? You know, I don't have proof of that, but I know that if you're not pushing for this, then there's something wrong, okay? So I am part of a team called New York Citizen Audit. This is a team, a grassroots team, which during the lockdown, they weren't happy with 2020. They felt these are regular citizens. These are housewives and goat farmers and retired NYPD. There was one guy who's a cybersecurity investigator who got involved. So there was a handful of people. So what they decided to do is go to the Board of Elections and request all the ins and outs, every single piece of public record paper, so that they can go in and investigate themselves. Well, that request was denied, and that is public record. We are privileged to that kind of information. We paid for it, so we might as well, you know, be able to get that. So they went to court. They used the Freedom of Information Act, which is a good thing to know, because with that, they were able to go back to the Board of Elections, and their hands were forced to give us, not me, because I'm not a data analyst, but the team, to hand over all that information. What was done was they combed, this is a handful of people, they knew nothing about the elections, citizens who combed through thousands and thousands of documents to be able to find out why are we in the mess that we're in. Because this is one thing about upstate. Upstate used to really blame, not everybody, but I used to hear often that the Democrats win because of the tri-state area. They always said that because there's a lot of Republicans upstate. And they always blamed us for voting for these people. And then they realized that it's not us, it's the system. It's rigged. And so they combed through all that. And if you look at the first page, if you look at the first page, this is just a short, brief, very short on the findings. So they combed through all that, and then they realized, if you look at the, first of all, the voter rolls are all inaccurate. There's thousands and thousands of people that need to be removed. In the first, when you go to findings, it talks about 2 million plus, 2 million 4 plus. New York Citizen vote ID numbers were attached to 1,170 plus. What does that mean? They're figuring out through these algorithms and putting these systems in your software in the elections to do all these kinds of shenanigans. So with one, there, I give you one example. What they decided to do is comb the different areas. They volunteer on their own. They're not getting paid. No politicians. They don't want to hear about parties. They want to hear about the votes and the integrity of it. So they combed certain areas and they politely went into people's homes and said, "This is what I'm all about. Can you tell me, is this your name?" "Yes, it is my name." "Did you vote this year?" "Actually, I didn't vote. I voted in 2008. "Well, it says here that you voted. You voted in 2008, 2003, and it goes on and on. In other words, these algorithms are able to take your ID number and make phony people. They can use your name and take out your middle initial and make it into a person. They can change your date of birth. So the conclusion was that 12-year-olds are voting, dead people are voting, undocumented are voting, because you notice if you go to the site, all they say is they don't want to know your name or your date of birth anymore. They want to know where your address is, okay? So if you're giving out IDs to undocumented people, driver's license, what does the driver's license have? Your address. So all you have to do is show your driver's license, your address is there, okay? This is, if I ask each person, how do you think they did this? Everybody will come up with something different. Well, I'm here to tell you that every suggestion that you might come up with, that's exactly what they do. From mail-in ballots to dead people voting, you name it. This is the reason why there are sociopaths in office. If people have sometimes people have a short-term memory, but Anthony Weiner would have been your pedophile mayor. A lot of people like him because he was like charismatic and he was, you know, animated on the floor. So a lot of people voted for him. He's a pedophile, okay? And these people are sick, okay? They hate America. They hate people that, single moms that came from the bottom up, working hard with 2 kids latched to them, young guys that lost so many companies and finally became a millionaire. They hate people like that, okay? That American dream, they want it to be a nightmare so bad. Because these usually what narcissistic people think, they think that they are brought here from, I don't know which god they're you know, worshiping, but they feel that their God had put them on this earth to control you. Because they're that smart, and you're not, and you're a cockroach, and you'll eat roaches and be happy. That's how they see us, okay? That's how I see them, like demons, but you know, that's how they see us. So we really need to know our enemy. The other section in the findings, it says 987 plus voters registered on January 1st. Now, I don't know about you. There's a lot of people hung over on January 1st, okay?
Nobody's registered to vote.
And nobody's registering to vote. The Board of Elections just partied the night before. They ain't opening their doors on January 1st. So as I go through all this, remember, these are citizens that were able to crack this code, okay? Then you have, the next one is 1.9 registered in the state voter rolls missing from the county rolls. In other words, there are 3 agencies that are responsible to count the votes, and all 3 of them should be having the same number. Board of Elections, the state, Secretary of State, and the precincts, okay? All those numbers are all different. Nobody knows who, nobody knows what, nobody knows anything. Then you have these commissioners that are getting $80,000 and plus to sign off on these elections like they are legit, okay? So if you have all these discrepancies and you sign that the election is legit, you've committed a crime, okay? Now, if you looked at everything and you still sign, then you committed a crime, okay? Because these numbers, you're not supposed to sign anything when you have that the citizens themselves can come up with all these discrepancies. So imagine all the access that you have because you're the commissioner, okay? The other thing, it's just underneath that is 625,000 plus more registers and voters in the 6 counties. Now this could be more because they're going by 21, 22, and now they're still working on 23.
Those are not votes, those are ballots that they're putting into the system, not the actual votes, but they just, if the candidate that they have chosen to be elected or selected is behind in the count. They have to get ballots, and that's how they get the ballots, and that's how the description is there.
Right, yeah, that's one way too. 740 ineligible voters statewide, 338 plus, 1,000 plus more votes cast than voters who voted in 2020. So this is 2020. They're still doing it. I know candidates that have been out there, especially one in the Bronx. Samantha Zerdak, I think her name is? Zerka. She was out there. She's a solid candidate. She's a patriotic Tea Party candidate, and she only got 200 votes. They're still at it. They're still at it. But their party's going to be over soon. Watch. Mark my words. Then we have 195,000 votes plus 1,000 votes cast in New York City that went missing in the New York State database. So they take and they scramble, they do all kinds of things. Now, I want to, at the bottom here, that's the website. At the bottom left, you can go in there and they give you detail, they break it down by borough. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Queens was the worst. And I believe because Queens pretty much flipped for Trump in 2020. Then I think it was Nassau. And
not today.
And the Bronx. Follow up. The Bronx, pretty much, people don't know that the Bronx is very conservative. The Bronx gets a really bad rap, but there's a lot of people that are totally, especially Hispanics. You see the Hispanics with a lot of kids because they're not really into abortion, a lot of them. So there's a lot of conservatives, so they had to really work really hard for Queens, and especially the Bronx. But I have questions, stuff like that afterwards. So I don't know if you're aware of it, and I know Trump has said this also, and people don't listen to him sometimes, but New York State flipped red in 2020. And some people don't believe that, but I do believe it. It's come out of his mouth. You should know better than I do. He's got access to Facebook. You guys, listen, Facebook carries every email, every phone call you made. They, like he says, we have it all. Okay, so, but I really think it really went over the cliff in 2009. I think that's why the Tea Party was persecuted more than any other group, because they always talked about shrinking government. There's so much fat, there's so many people working in the government, and you can't get a hold of no one, okay? I mean, it's just so disgusting, and we're all paying for it. So when the opposition, which I'm going to use that word, which is really the tyrants,
treasonous traitors.
The treasonous traitors, I love that. The treasonous traitors, you can call them fascists, communists. Socialism is just a doorway to communism, honestly. Okay? That's like a turd with sugar, with sprinkles on it. That's how I call it. Cabal, Khazarian Mafia, whatever you want to call it. The lines have blurred so much that now I got to the point where it's just good and evil. Okay, right. Patriots or traitors. Yeah. I'm always on top of, if anybody knows me, my whole mission is to expose rhinos. They're the worst. I know a Democrat. I know a Democrat before he crosses the street. I know a Democrat. But these rhinos that are working with Democrats, they're the worst. Because they're Trump, 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 and I'm a patriot, and this and that, and what they do behind your back. I know so many Republicans that are trying to do their best for me not to get this information out. Okay? They're doing their damnedest. But you know what? When I first started in the ending of 21, there was only a handful of people. Now there's 2,000 plus. Okay? Because the information is getting out. The director of New York Citizen Audit, Marley Hornak, she was 2.5 weeks ago in Mike Lindell's Rumble channel. So it's getting out. Okay, you can hide the truth as much as you want, but you can't destroy it. Okay, God is truth. Okay, so, but going back to 2009, I could hear stuff like, first of all, the Tea Party is a white supremacist. I said, well, I've seen the parade. There's like black people there. Like, who's? I mean, that's what I see on my TV. Like, so yeah, it's
and a racist also.
And a racist. The Tea Party was always for a handout, not a handout. They didn't like that. That's why you have so many programs and initiatives and stimulus, and then, I mean, I could do a seminar on that alone, okay? They were always about communism. I mean, the Tea Party was always about the Constitution. I remember in 2009, Obama said that it was very good for the Tea Party to be part of the election process, but his idea was that the Tea Party can destroy the fabric of democracy. Okay, first of all, this is not democracy. Okay, this is a republic.
Right.
And they brainwash people so much that they say democracy. They don't even know what the meaning is. They've just been programmed to say that. This is not a democracy. The government is a democracy. They tell you it's a monarchy. They tell you what to do. They don't, there's no freedom at all. But working in the medical field, in 2009, it was really bad. They had closed 7 hospitals. I think it was 2009, maybe give or take a year. 7 hospitals, and then the following year was St. Vincent's in Manhattan. St. Vincent's was a major trauma center for NYPD. There's a lot of gangs, Chinese gangs. It's a really hard precinct, and that's where they were treating NYPD. That's where they were treating even the gang members when they get shot. I used to work there. There were 20-year-old females that would come in with gunshots to the chest, and they removed that. And the reason why they removed that is because this is what communists likes to do. They like to just bunch you up all together. It doesn't matter if you take welfare or you work or you have your own business. No, you have to be like these smart cities, they call it, these 10-minute cities. That's what they want. They want us all in the city. Okay, they attack the farms. They want you all in the cities. And during that time, they closed 8 hospitals, I think it was, and mostly, I think Queens got the most, and some in Brooklyn, and then Manhattan. So that was the first part of what they did. Then there was the famous Affordable Care Act. Okay, affordable to who? Because now people were extorted. If you don't join, that's communism. If I don't feel like joining an insurance company, then I don't feel like doing it. Why am I going to be penalized $1,000, $2,000 because I'm not listening to you?
And you have to show your tax refund that you had applied for,
right,
care,
right,
medical
care,
care,
right.
insurance. But then when Trump came in, he got rid of that.
Right, absolutely.
And people, the dumb blacks, right? The dumb blacks, you call them dumb too. The dumb blacks fell for that. Oh, Obamacare, he's coming to save us. I said, he's a treasonous traitor.
Absolutely.
That did nothing for blacks.
I worked at Gouverneur, which was one of the city hospital, which is, man, I mean, I would go home crying the way they were treating people with endless x-rays and endless this and no cures, no nothing. The money that was spent, and also the millions of dollars that was spent on that computer system to put that broke down within a couple of weeks. Okay, because the government is taking care of it. That cost millions of dollars, and he was forcing everybody to go in, and guess what? It crashed. And then you have to spend more millions to fix the problem. And it's just throwing money, and which is our money. It's just throwing it and throwing it and throwing it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, between 2019, it reached like $500 billion, like $500 billion in the medical field. And now, it's gonna implode. It's completely destroyed. Now you have, those hospitals are filled with vaccinated people to the brim. Okay? Then you have the prenatal for the undocumented